Hello, my name is Ashley Wilson, and I'm the Road to College Event Coordinator here at Uplift Education Central Management Office. First and foremost, thank you for your support and participation as our Road to College Trip chaperone. As a chaperone, you'll not only have the opportunity to guide and supervise our scholars, but also extend the RTC curriculum outside of the classroom and make a positive, lasting impression on our college partners. Before we get started, let's look how chaperoning aligns to our core values. Rise together. As a chaperone, you'll model rising together by collaborating with your campus teachers, leadership team, and even our college partners. Inspire innovation. Road to College trips create great opportunities to make trips more impactful. Trip planning is the perfect time to think outside the box. Scholar-centered. As a chaperone, you'll be taking some time away from your typical tasks during the workday to prepare for your scholar's college visit. Giving up instructional time or similar tasks gives you the opportunity to put scholars first from a college visit perspective, and shows that you believe exposing them to college life will positively impact their lives forever. Elevate expectations. As a chaperone, your guidance to scholars during Road to College trips further elevate the idea of college for all scholars. Your role as a chaperone is an important one, and while enjoyable, requires that you accept certain responsibilities that will have a large impact to our scholars and college partners. The purpose of this video is to provide you with an overview of your chaperone responsibilities and to make recommendations for appropriate responses to various situations that may occur during the course of your Road to College trip. Today, we'll review the following. Section 1, Lead Chaperone and Chaperone Responsibilities. Section 2, Chaperone Expectations. And finally, Section 3, Coordinating with your campus nurse and medical training. As a chaperone, you'll often come across distinct trip language or terms. Please review the Road to College trip language document in the Road to College trip section in Blackboard. The purpose of these terms are to act as a reference for you throughout the planning and execution of the Road to College trips. Now let's begin with Section 1. Section 1, RTC Lead Chaperone and Chaperone Responsibilities. In this section, we'll review the following. 1. Coordinate and distribute. 2. Confirm final scholar and chaperone numbers. 3. Distribute scholar giveaways and snacks. 4. Distribute RTC trip lesson plan. 5. Distribute RTC trip reflection assignment. 6. Arrange pre-trip meeting with scholars. 7. Arrange pre-trip meeting with chaperones. And finally, 8. Coordinate with your campus nurse and collect student medical logs. RTC Lead Chaperone trip responsibilities include coordinate and distribute 4 weeks before the trip. It's important that the lead chaperone follow field trip request form protocol by coordinating with his or her campus's operations director in the distribution and collection of field trip permission slips. This also includes coordinating with the operations director in creating parent notifications regarding the RTC trip. You can access the field trip request form in the Road to College trip section in Blackboard. Confirm final scholar and chaperone numbers 2 weeks before the trip. The lead chaperone must confirm the number of scholars and chaperones attending the RTC trip. This number should be communicated and confirmed with the operations director. The number of scholars attending the trip is very important, being that this number is used to directly distribute any scholar giveaways and food payments toward the college and our university. Though every RTC trip is designed for 6th, 9th, and 11th grade scholars, it is also the lead chaperone's responsibility to follow with his or her campus director or dean in the event that there are scholars who are not eligible to participate. Please note that eligibility is based on your campus's policy. Distributing scholar giveaways and snacks 2 weeks before the trip. Closer to the trip date, we may need your help getting scholar giveaways and snacks at campus. In regards to giveaways, it's important for all participants to wear his or her t-shirt or badge on the day of the trip. On large campuses, older scholars may blend in with college students, and there may be chaperones who don't know every scholar, so giveaways act as great identifiers. Giveaways and snacks must be distributed to scholars on the day of the trip. Distribute RTC trip lesson plan 2 weeks before the trip. The RTC Lead Chaperone will help facilitate the implementation and RTC trip lesson plans to scholars on his or her campus. Each campus may need to execute the distribution of lesson plans differently. Each lesson plan can be divided into parts so it can be executed in a full class period or during intervention periods or advisory. Please work with your campus leadership team to determine when these plans should be executed. It is imperative that scholars are exposed to this information before the trip, as preliminary knowledge goes a long way in making the trip more meaningful. Distribute RTC trip reflection assignment. Following the trip date, RTC Lead Chaperones will work with advisors to help facilitate the implementation and distribution of RTC trip reflection assignments to scholars on his or her campus. The RTC chaperone will work with advisors to review the reflection assignment. Again, each campus may need to execute the distribution of reflection assignments differently. Arrange pre-trip meeting with scholars 2 weeks before the trip. During the pre-trip meeting, lead chaperones will review the trip attire, student guideline sheet, and may use this time to cover content in the RTC trip lesson plan. Arrange pre-trip meeting with chaperones 1 week before the trip. Lead chaperones will review the agenda, chaperone expectation sheet, and student guideline sheet with the chaperones attending the trip for his or her campus. Finally, 8. Coordinate with campus nurse and collect student medical logs 2 weeks before the trip. The lead chaperone will communicate to scholars attending the RTC trip with the campus nurse. The campus nurse will then distribute student medical logs to the RTC lead chaperone. During the Road to College trip, RTC lead chaperones should have student medical logs with them at all times. We'll go through this more in depth in Section 3, Coordinating with your campus nurse and medical training. You can access the RTC lead chaperone and chaperone responsibilities and student guidelines documents in the Road to College trip section in Blackboard. Also, please review the RTC lead chaperone and chaperone responsibilities timeline in the Field Trip Request Guidelines for Teachers section on the Field Trip Request form. Section 2, Chaperone Expectations. Again, thank you for coordinating this trip as the RTC lead chaperone. Our experience over the years has helped us understand what makes these trips run smoothly. Please review the Chaperone Expectation document in the Road to College trip section in Blackboard to help you understand the full scope of your responsibilities on these trips. However, I want to highlight that it's essential that we remember we're guests at each college and they're graciously offering this opportunity to our scholars. That being said, we must be sure that every area is left better than we found it. This includes picking up trash, clearing off tables, and so forth. One chaperone should do a sweep of the area after scholars leave to make sure no scholar is left behind and the area is well maintained. Remember, you're a role model for our scholars. Therefore, it's important to maintain professionalism at all times. As chaperones, you are the face and voice of Uplift Education in your campus. Encourage scholars to listen to instructions, ask thoughtful questions, and be open to new experiences. Provide direct supervision for scholars at all times during the trip. Section 3, Coordinating with your campus nurse and medical training. As a chaperone, it's important to know specific student medical needs, including allergies, and how to accommodate specific needs of high-risk students throughout all phases of the field trip. Coordinating with your campus nurse and undergoing proper training is important to ensure the health and safety of our scholars. In this section, we'll review the following. 1. Complying with district guidelines and health service procedures. And 2. Health service related trainings. Complying with district guidelines and health service procedures. Lead chaperones should keep in mind scholars with behavioral needs, special needs, or those with medical needs. It's important that you alert your campus nurse for preparation and scholar medical needs 2 weeks before the trip. Contacting your campus nurse well before the trip allows you adequate time to receive information and training related to district policy and procedures on the administration of medication. Only an approved chaperone can administer medication to scholars. An approved chaperone includes an Uplift employee who has completed the medication administration trainings and has received approval from the campus director and or the campus nurse to administer medication to scholars with medical needs during the trip. See more details in the Field Trip Prep Guidelines for Teachers section located in the Field Trip Request form. To alert your campus nurse, RTC chaperone should communicate the grade attending the trip, submit the class roster and trip agenda to the campus nurse. The campus nurse will then provide RTC chaperones with a medical log to provide care to each scholar needing medication administered. The medical log will include the scholar's name, prescription instructions, log, and dosage. Also, the scholar's medication and exact doses for the trip will be placed in a small bag that will be stapled to the medical log. All RTC chaperones must complete medical training for EpiPen injections and first aid prior to the trip. We'll cover more administering medication in the Health Services Related Training section. Health Service Related Training. In addition to administering medication, there may be instances where a scholar would need your help or assistance during the medical emergency section of a trip. Please use your professional judgment to determine what qualifies as a medical emergency. Medical emergencies may include but are not limited to the following examples. 1. Seizures lasting more than 5 minutes, asthma, diabetes, and anaphylaxis. In the event that a scholar has a medical emergency, all chaperones should again exercise his or her professional judgment and contact your campus nurse for next steps and or 911. Please complete the medication administration training and first aid training prior to your trip date. Both can be found in Blackboard. For more information regarding medical trainings or procedures, please contact your campus nurse. Section 3 concludes our Road to College Chaperone training video. Again, thank you for coordinating this trip as the RTC Lead Chaperone. We are super excited about your participation, and together we look forward to providing the best college experience for our scholars. Please complete the Chaperone training assessment and the medication administration training and first aid training following the video in Blackboard. For more information regarding Road to College trips, please contact the Road to College office at 469-621-8500. Thanks for watching.